Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Office 365 Pulse or Microsoft Pulse, whatever we want to call it now. We've got Adam and Tom and myself today. Tamara is not going to be able to join us, so we miss her, but we will see her next week. And so we are going to kick it off and do some updates. So we don't have anything canceled again. We're 2 weeks with nothing canceled, but we have things in development, rolling out, and launch. So in development, of course, means they're building it behind the scenes. Rolling out means it has started to roll out to tenants in the clouds that they reference. It may roll out slowly or it may be all at once. Like, it's going to depend. Don't always say. And then launched means if it says it's there, it should be available in your tenant. And if you don't see it, you probably need to talk to your admins. So, Tom, do you want to start us with something you found interesting in
Sure.
development?
I can do that. So Microsoft Teams seemed to get a lot of in development love this week.
Mhm.
And three of the items that I saw that I'll cover really quick because they're a little grouped together. One is Microsoft Teams simplified channel creation. So they're adding the option to create a channel directly from the plus button in the Teams app instead of you having to go in and try to, find where you need to do this and the whole bit. So it should make it easier for people who have the ability to create a channel in a team to do that without having to work to make it happen. The second one along the same lines is simplified team create. So in creating a team, the new default experience will be create a team from scratch, making it a simpler and quicker experience. Some of you may not have self-service team creation, in which case this won't affect you. It'll just affect whoever you've assigned this off to. But those are both coming out. They're both in January, and they're both supposed to hit all the different tenants, GCC, GCC High, DoD, and commercial. And then there's one other one, which is Microsoft Teams. Control your activity notifications from the activity card. So Teams will be able to control what shows in their activity feed by clicking on the ellipsis from the activity card, helping them to stay on top of the information that matters most to them. I think the combination of this, along with the ability, I don't know that it's fully rolled out yet, but the ability to actually delete things off your activity feed will really help you keep that cleaner. And if you're so inclined, you can actually work that as a to-do list for the kind of things you have going on. So those are three things I think that will be interesting when they come out next month.
Cool. Well, I have one before we pass it to, two before I pass it to Adam for his adminish type updates. But
I see what you did there.
Coaching by Copilot in Classic Outlook for Windows and Draft by Copilot in Classic Outlook for Windows. I think this is really interesting because right now, if you wanted to do something like this, you'd have to use a tool. Like, for instance, I use the tool Lavender that will coach me on emails to say how effective it is. Most often tells me, hey, Jennifer, you are being really wordy and no one is going to read this book. That's my thing. I can write a big long email. So Lavender is a tool that allows us to do that. And so with Copilot being able to do that, to be able to look at messages, say how effective it is, help you rewrite it, different things like that. Super powerful and cost saving because I don't have to have a license for Lavender now. Now, again, just something to think about. There's going to be Copilot is going to come at a cost, but there are going to be other things it can take away then because maybe you're reducing tool sets. So I thought those were interesting. That's in development. It looks like a February rollout date. And of course, that's the worldwide tenant only. Copilot and all of that in the government clouds hasn't been, isn't there yet, coming soon. But I thought that was a cool thing. So I'm excited about that. Tom, I can tell by your face, you look perplexed.
No, I'm perfectly okay. I was looking up to get to something that I thought I may want to mention, but will depend when it gets there.
I like how
he looks perplexed.
I like how the Copilot one also says it will help you to adjust your tone to get your message across. Like, hey, you're being too much of an asshole. Tone it down. It's exactly what that's going to be.
Sometimes even with tone, you can take it the other way too. Like, this is a very friendly message when it needs to be a little bit more serious. Or, hey, did you realize how serious you're being? And then we've been talking about this a lot.
I don't have the
desk.
too friendly when it needs to be serious problem.
Yeah, but even like with the service desk, you always want to help a customer, but the help desk is trying to help a customer. However, you don't want to lead with a no. So even though they can't do something, if you lead with a no, it starts and makes the entire tone of the message negative, which cannot always be a good response. So you want to turn a negative into a positive in just how you're saying it. And so I think tools like this actually really do help. And how many times have you, maybe you have a significant other or something and you get a text or you get an email and you're like, what? And in reality, it was just how you read it. I've been there. I've done this.
Oh, yeah, that's why I'm, moved on.
All right. Well, how about Adam? What do you have in development that is interesting to you?
Yeah, not a ton of admin stuff, but two things I will mention. The first one I just thought was kind of interesting and kind of cool. I could see this being beneficial to me. As my job has changed over the last couple of years at Planet, I tend to have a lot of meetings on my calendar that I'm maybe not necessarily expected to attend. They're more just meetings that are going on with important customers we have that I'm not necessarily assigned to. But so Microsoft Teams live meeting status. So the Teams calendar on mobile devices will now show you the live status of a meeting to basically give you avatars of who's in the call, to tell you if it's being recorded, stuff like that. So especially if I'm going through and we have a customer of ours that tends to be needy or tends to, like to have an executive presence or something, I can get an understanding looking from my phone at a quick glance what's actually going on there, what's actually happening in the meeting, and if I need to join, which is kind of nice, right? Like fairly often there'll be an escalation. My team might tell me stuff going on, and I decide, oh, do I want to pop in and listen, or do I want to pop in and turn my camera on so they know there's some executive ownership there or something like that? Being able to look at that on a glance on the phone, I just thought was kind of nice. I'm sure I will just personally actually use that feature. And then the other one that I just thought was kind of cool, although this is probably going to be more annoying than anything working for a consultant, but the idea that there's a new admin policy for Teams for enabling or disabling tenant users to join externally hosted meetings. So you're basically soon going to be able to administratively control, do I want to allow my users to join Teams meetings hosted from other organizations? Now, the organizations that actually probably need this are very, very strict compliant organizations where they're going through and dealing with data that they maybe don't want in certain clouds or legally can't have in certain clouds. So therefore, they're wanting to always make sure that they are hosting the meetings. But I can 100% see an overzealous security person for an organization deciding they're turning that on when they don't necessarily need it. And then it's just a situation that, okay, well, we have these partners and like we're always dependent on them to host meetings and they're super bad about getting the invites out or something like that. But regardless, I could see the feature being good for the right organization.
I can also see them getting around this by making some type of visitor role or something like that, where you're allowed to set up a meeting and host it, and some like guest hosting or something. I could see something like that coming soon. Well, that's awesome. Tom, anything else in development? If not, you can take us to rolling out.
I'll just mention one because it's the only other one that I had highlighted that hasn't been covered to date. And that is Microsoft Teams Discover feed for channels. So you can access a personalized feed based on important updates in the channels they are part of. So I don't know if this means you get to pick and choose what you want, or they're going to have the whole, assisted by AI and start to give you things that it thinks are important based on how you've reacted to other things. Either way, being able to get a consolidated look at things, especially if you belong to a myriad of team spaces and channels and all this other stuff, I could see where that would be really helpful. That will be out in January, and we'll get to see what it looks like at that point.
I'm not sure another feed is what I need in my life, but
sure you do. You just don't know it yet.
Maybe.
Awesome. Moving on to the rolling out, I will go ahead and mention, because I really wish this would hurry up and get here because I'm looking forward to it, and that is the simplified compose box. So a simplified compose box user interface, this is in Teams, will make it easier to create and send messages, edit your message, insert an emoji, or call Copilot right from the compose box, or click on the plus button to choose from the extended menu of actions. Note this is for the new Teams only. That should be rolling out this month. And I think it will make it easier for people to get more than just that one liner out there really quick. But we'll see how that works.
Well, yeah, we got this. We just got this in the last day or so. Well, okay. I wasn't working over the weekend. I don't remember having it on Friday, and I have it now today because I'm like, that's different. So
yeah. So that'll be interesting.
I haven't talked too much today, so I don't know how helpful that will be or not be. So The one I had, and the one that I totally thought you were going to say, Tom, is just because it's fun to say. The Unified Fun Picker
Oh
is
yeah, that
now
was at the
rolling
top
I was
of
out.
the
gonna
list,
mention
but I
this one.
figured I'd give somebody else a chance at that one. Let's pick fun.
So we're going to have some unified fun this week. Maybe this week, if it makes it out, so users can find all their emojis, GIFs, and stickers in one picker. So you can browse and discover all the fun stuff you need. I love it. So
All
I'm
in
going to have
one
some
hub of content.
So I'm going to have some unified fun this week. And then one other one I had, um, which Adam will probably take, but I'm going to say it anyway, and then he can have some. The Admin Center Adoption Score AI Assistance category. So that is going to give you new people experiences. So it's going to, a couple of things. It's going to let you know who's using Copilot, how they're using it, but it's also going to let you know how prepared you are for Copilot and what you might need to do in your tenant before you launch Copilot. And then I think that's really great because if you are going to make a big investment in Copilot, but you don't have what you need in place, you're not going to get the biggest return. So having these tools come out and looking at your environment to help you analyze that, I think that's really exciting. And so that is rolling out. I think this is one we'll see as a slow trickle. That's just my thought. I think they'll get it out there to a percentage of people and then based on feedback, make updates. That's Jen Mason's personal opinion, not endorsed at all by Microsoft. But that's my thought on it. But I think we'll see that come out. I'm really excited about that. I think it's going to be good. I think people will be able to have a lot more practical conversations about their environments once this data comes out, and then what enhancements and what they can do with Copilot. So
I was surprised to see, if you look at the release dates of everything and rolling out, everything is December of this year, but this update. This update is set for March 2024. So I see this as, if you're in preview and using Copilot right now, sure, you're getting it, but most people probably will see this through the first quarter or so of the coming year.
I think that's what we see with a lot of their reports, right? Because Microsoft is going in and trying to say, okay, if I had to build one report on this topic that is going to work for the world, we're not talking about working for one organization or one business unit or one industry. It needs to work for the world. That's really hard to do. So one good way to do it is to put some stuff out there and see where people are clicking or not clicking and see where people can make decisions. So this is one of the things that I think this is where the cloud helps us, right? Like we get to let it slowly trickle out and then changes get made and they can respond quickly. So excited about that.
Same kind of thing when I'm building stuff for people. They're like, oh, it needs to have this laundry list of features. And I'm like, tell you what, based on my experience over 30 plus years of doing this, I can see these top 4 being ones that are great. All the rest of them,
nice to have.
So why don't we put out those 4 and then let's see how people actually use this. Not going to paint you into a corner. We'll be able to add things later on, but I don't want to build all this stuff if once you get it out there, people are using 2 of the 8 things. So let's get it out there. Let's see how it's actually used. It's the same concept you were just talking about. So,
well, what do you have in rolling out, Adam, that interests you?
Yeah, so I'll mention 2 things. Not a huge, heavily admin update this week for us, but I thought for sure Tom was going to talk about this one when he was like, "Oh, this is like I thought it was right up the alley." It's because it's a stream update. And it's
I was going to do that if you didn't touch on it.
Yeah, but it's actually a cool one. You basically have the ability to add a survey, poll, or quiz to a video at a specific time. I can see this being hugely beneficial if you're doing internal communication about training or stuff like that. Yeah, like even if you're just going
this
through
Netflix series for a long time, would you like to continue?
Yeah, I could really see just some easy quality wins of going through and doing stuff and getting feedback about what you're doing. The survey is actually really being done through forms. You'll be able to look at the results afterwards. But the fact that you can basically timestamp enter those in, I can see value here with going and doing basic education or basic training. For instance, a lot of the customers we work in the DIB space, they are required to show the compliance auditors that they're doing stuff to a certain degree. I could 100% see, for instance, going with a customer and putting together a video that explains how to do CUI labeling in Office 365, and at the end of that video having someone basically say yes, I watch the video and understand what was said. So that way they can show an auditor, look, yeah, we not only know that they did it, they attested to it as well too. So I could see that being good and being cool. And then the other one, again, not super necessarily admin-y, but again, my personal geekness thought this was kind of neat. They said Microsoft Teams domain specific search, and not domain in the sense of like your email domain. It's basically if you want to go through and do a search, like right now at the top of Teams, you have search, and you can type in and it searches everything that exists in Teams, which is all of your SharePoint files and all of your chats and all the people, everything. You can basically scope it now where you can say, okay, well, I'm looking for this, but I only want to look at my chats. Because I know like Jen had messaged me this really cool, like tequila I wanted to buy, but I talk about tequila with everybody, so I want to just look in chats to go through and do it that way. Or whatever it is, right? You can go through and scope it there. But so basically you can scope just channels, just Teams, just chat, just files, whatever. And the idea is by being able to scope it, you're doing less results, so you should get the results quicker.
Yep. Very cool. Very cool. Well, Tom, I'm going to let you close us out with Launched because I'm sure there's only a couple. Well, I know there's only a couple. There's 3. So I'm going to let you pick the ones that we should talk about and close us on out.
Whiteboard live text, because this is cool. I've actually seen it work and it is awesome. And that is, used to be when you were in Whiteboard and, you're doing sticky notes and stuff, your sticky note would sit there and all of a sudden it's like, poof, there's all the text. Well, now you're going to actually see live text. You're going to be seeing what people are typing in real time, much like when you're doing Loop or collaboration in a Word document or stuff like that. Yeah, co-authoring. So I think that's really nice if you're going, hey, everybody, I want you to start filling in some of your ideas on this, the sticky notes on the whiteboard here. And you can see that people are actually doing it instead of sitting there waiting for somebody to hit enter before it actually gets there. Or you can see partial things, or if you're sitting there thinking, oh, I'm going to type this in, but yet you see right above it, somebody's halfway through writing the same thing that you were about to type in, don't have to do it because it's already been covered. So I think that is a really cool change. Looking forward to seeing that one once it gets out. And you're on mute, Jen.
I guess I got to unmute it. That, I guess, wraps us up for today. Pretty quick show, but that's great. I expect probably quick shows throughout the end of the year. So thank you for joining us, everybody, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye, everyone.